Welcome back to the Lars Larson Show. Pleasure to be with you, and glad to take your phone calls and your emails at 866-HEY-LARS after I talk to my friend Ann Coulter, the author most recently of Resistance is Futile, How the Trump-Hating Left Has Lost Its Collective Mind. And did you take the time to watch any of the continuation Season 2 of the Adam Schiff Show?
Why, yes, I did. Not much time. When I was just making coffee this morning, I guess, when it started, and I thought, this is so boring. I'm the only person in the universe watching this. And then they started, Lars, and I'm working on my 2020 campaign commercials. Oh my gosh, they were unappealing. These hectoring, angry, very non-diverse lawyers, I might add. But it's just like watching MSNBC, and I keep trying to lure you and your listeners into the joys of watching the lunatics on MSNBC, but you refuse to believe me. You watched the hearing today, you got a little taste of it.
Oh, and it was crazy because you got a one woman who I think, now again, you're a lawyer, I'm not a psychologist, but this woman is so disturbed by Donald Trump that she crosses the street to avoid walking in front of a big concrete building that has his name on it. Does that sound like a pathology to you? like you're...
Did she say that?
Well, she said that she has previously said that she would cross the street to avoid walking in front of the Trump Hotel. And this is one of the witnesses introduced as impartial constitutional witnesses today.
Oh, she was angry and hectoring, and okay, this won't mean anything to the people who have not taken in my advice and do not understand the joys of watching MSNBC. She was like Jennifer Rubin, that lunatic from the Washington Post, just angry, unattractive, hectoring. My favorite part was not the attack on Barron. And by the way, I wasn't watching these all day. It was, basically when I was making a new pot of coffee or something, I turned it on, and I was just thinking, this is fantastic for Trump. Not that he deserves it, but it is fantastic for him. No, I thought her craziest point was, which you will hear probably every 10 minutes on MSNBC and have for the last 3 years, that and when he said at that rally, Russia, if you're listening, the rest of that sentence should have been, you butt out of our election.
Of course.
They just cannot, as I've written this, I think I had a whole column on it. This is one of the left's favorite, argument techniques, not getting jokes.
Yeah, they don't. Hey, let's talk about this, though. You wrote a great column about why all the accusations of white nationalism in our society these days, that somehow because I have pale skin, I'm a person of pallor, that somehow I had some tremendous edge over everybody else who's a person of color. And you point out that the only folks being actually discriminated against in, say, college admissions are white people.
Yes. This is one I've been saving up for a boring week like impeachment hearings. This report, a big study that was conducted by Georgetown University, funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And this was after, the college admission scandal where, rich Hollywood people were buying their kids' ways into college. So Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation fund this huge study at Georgetown to examine how would college admissions be different if it were based solely on board scores, solely on the SAT. And it turns out, listeners, you're not going to believe this, every single ethnic group would decline other than whites. Even Asians. Now, Asians not by very much, and I suspect that's because they're a little more diligent about doing their homework than your average white American.
True.
But still, every single ethnic group would decline if it were based solely on SAT scores. And as I say in the column, this has been true for, going back 3 or 4 decades now. The New York Times was writing about it back in the 80s. But it's all covered up with white privilege. There was another, you probably heard, many of you have heard of Stephen Thernstrom. He looked at a big study that was, again, by the way, that's not what the study was supposed to establish. It was supposed to find some hidden bit of racism so that white Americans could be denounced all over again. no, it turns out whites are the only people being discriminated against in college admissions, and therefore this is probably the first time you are hearing about Americans. If you read my column, I link to the study, and I link to the Stephen Thurstrom study that I'm about to mention. He took another professor's study of college admissions back in the 90s, and this was just for law school admissions. Again, every single ethnic group, simply because of their skin color or ethnicity, American Indians, Asians, specifically broken down by, Puerto Ricans, Mexicans, other Hispanic. Every one of them in applying to law school had, a 3-time, 5-time, 17-time better chance of being admitted than a white student applying to law school. And the interesting thing was, at the more prestigious law schools, the places like Yale, it was even worse. The multiple you got for your skin color was even higher. So this has been going on forever, and they paper it over by constantly prattling out this nonsense phrase, white privilege, white privilege. No, the one acceptable racist discrimination practiced not only openly, but with arrogance, with attitude. Oh, well, you have white privilege, is the open racial discrimination against white people. Anyone who points this out will be accused of white nationalism.
Well, of course, but Ann, what seems odd too is since you pointed out it's gone on for at least 2 generations, 40
Yep.
years ago. So by the logic that if you say we're going to discriminate actively in favor of people of color against whites for a period of time to sort of level things out, well, all of the people who've been graduating from all these colleges for the last 2 generations, we presume, come out with degrees, they have successful careers, they have children, those children have children, and you starting to flatten things out. And yet, as you point out, it's worse now. I say worse because I don't think you should get into college based on skin color. I think you should get in based on aptitude, on ability. Be judged by the content of your character.
Most of my friends disagree with me. Can you hear that alarm? I hope you can.
I cannot.
Oh, good. Okay. I set an alarm to make sure I didn't forget to call.
Okay.
Sorry about that, Lars.
No worries.
But I will say that, and this has been a long-standing point of mine. Now, I don't think I do the stupid stuff liberals do, like discriminate on the basis of race. But I think an important point is the only group of people, I mean, I guess American Indians too, to some extent. Don't go overboard there. It's not like they were slaves. But are the descendants of slaves. And it just drives me crazy that every immigrant group comes into this country, jumps onto the legacy of slavery bandwagon, acts like they are African Americans, the Middle Passage. No, we're making up. There is one group of people, a small group, about 10, 12% of the population, to whom America does owe something. I don't think it would be, I would come up with different ways to give advantages to African Americans. But no, why should we be discriminating against white Americans to benefit, Thais and Hmong I'm from the Punjab, I get in over Biff here. No. You're in with the rest of us if you are not the descendant of American slaves.
Yeah, and you should be in an entirely different category. But how long do we go on with this? Well, we're up against the clock. I'm up against the clock now. So, Ann, I've got to let you go. But I'm sure that we'll enjoy, although I have to mention one of my favorite little items from today's hearing. Jerry Nadler, his big moment in the sun, the new svelte-looking Jerry Nadler, svelter than he used to be. He dozed off during the hearing for which he was chairing, which kind of suggests that even he may be getting bored with the subject matter. Ann Coulter is a great friend of the show, writes a great column, writes great books as well. It's a pleasure to have you with me on a Wednesday night.